What is good, YouTube? Quinn Wade coming to y'all with that playing predictions again. We're going to talk about the Golden State Warriors versus the Memphis Grizzlies. This should be a very, very tough matchup against each other. They've been jawing back at each other for multiple years now. The Grizzlies actually beat the Warriors in a playing tournament before. They're going to try their luck to be able to do it again, and it should be a fun matchup. This is a different version of the Grizzlies. This is a different version of the Warriors, but their core pieces are the same, which is Jaren Jackson, Desmond Bain, and John Morant, versus obviously the Golden State Warriors, Jimmy Butler, Steph Curry, and Draymond Green. And that's going to be a tough matchup, for any team because the Western Conference is just stacked with great matchups, and I think that this is just going to be another one, and this don't really have too much high stakes. Besides, you get to play the Oklahoma City Thunder or the Houston Rockets. Obviously, you rather play the Houston Rockets than the Thunder, but in the Western Conference, the next round going to be tough anyway. So you might as well just go through the gauntlet anyway, because it just gives you more respect and show you how hard it is to get to the championship round and be able to win it. The Warriors, they already know basically what it takes to get there. I know Jimmy Butler never won a championship, but at least he was able to get to the finals twice with the Miami Heat. And I think that that's going to help this team out, in this game, just understanding what we do and how we do it and making it tough on the Grizzlies, making them stay disciplined, making them stay working, which means, running off screens, running off, diving to the basket for cuts, getting out in transition, getting steals, taking care of the ball might be the hardest thing for the Warriors. They always have trouble with executing sometimes or rushing or forcing stuff that they really don't have to. And the Grizzlies are athletic. They are fast. They are a solid defensive team. They have been for many years. And I don't really think that's going to change. One of the biggest things in this series, too, is size. Zach Edey is going to be the biggest guy on the court. He's a great offensive rebounder. He can score a little bit in the post, too, because the Warriors are usually a small team. Kevon Looney ain't messing with that guy. You can say the same thing about Draymond. He might can guard him a little better, but the size is just too much for him to be able to do stuff. Some things he's just not going to be able to do just because the guy is just too big and too strong and too tall. And that's going to be his advantage in that paint. I think that they should play him like 25, 30 minutes easily. In this series, I think Quentin Post is going to be a guy that's going to be huge for them. Can you get Zach Edey out of that paint and still be able to score from the perimeter while still, setting good screens so guys can get that first step or guys can get the space that they need just to be able to get quality shots off? Buddy Hield, what is he going to do? He's been hit or miss throughout this entire season. He had a big shot the other day and he missed it. And he's been unreliable, really. He can't really hit the threes like he used to, but he can get hot. But will he? That's going to be one of the biggest things in this game. And Desmond Bain, he's been really hot the last couple weeks, and he's been really hitting his perimeter shots. He looks like a different player. He looks like he has a different mentality. His confidence is through the roof. And I think that that's only a good thing, for the Grizzlies. And John Morant, will he be healthy? Can he play the entire game? Can he continue to score and make tough shots and tough plays? Will his jump shot be there? Some games it is. Some games it just ain't. You know what I mean? Steph Curry, will he be efficient? Will he be dominant? He has had games where he's been bad this year. He has had games where he looks like he's still got it, like we just seen yesterday, but they still lost. Jimmy Butler, will he be passive? Will he just look for a shot like we seen him do yesterday? He had 30. He's going to need to figure out what he's going to do. You can't just feel like you can get a basketball up over and over again without trying to put it in the basket eventually. I think Jimmy Butler has been trapped in that pass first mentality. He needs to snap back out of it and be playoff Jimmy. And that's what they're going to need to beat the toughest teams in the Western Conference. So it starts with the play-in tournament because Memphis was a team that was top 6 throughout this season, and injuries and things like that caused them to lose some games, and now you got to play them just a secure spot, but it only makes you better. It only makes you learn more. It only makes you prepare better because it shows that you want it more and you're trying to get it done, even if it's out of the mud, which is one of the toughest things to do. With the Warriors, I've been there. They have done it. Steve Kerr knows what to call. He knows what to do. He knows how to get the best out of his players. He knows how to get them in the right situations. He knows how to get them to play off of each other very well. And I think that that's a strong thing that they're going to have as long as they have this core and his coaching staff together, is they just know how to win games and they just know how to execute, enough to be able to, have success against anybody. But I like the Memphis Grizzlies as a challenger. The unfortunate part about it is they don't have Jalen Wells no more. He fractured his hand or he had some type of hand injury before the season was over. That's why the teams don't like playing their starters the last 5 or 6 games of the season, because that's how he got injured. And it sucks because that's another defender, that's another shooter that they're not going to have. That's another floor spacer that they're not going to have. And they just going to have to, get more minutes to Adama. He's a guy that has been big for them. He can space the floor. He can give them size. He can also get to the rim from time to time. Brandon Clark, he's going to be out. That sucks. There's no real replacement for him. They're going to have to rely a little bit more on G.G. Jackson to step up a little bit. Luke Kennard could be big for them too, handling the ball, hitting the mid-ranges, hitting the threes, and also playmaking and finding guys. You can say the same thing about Scottie Pippen Jr. He's a guy that's going to make shots from the perimeter. He can get to the basket. He can find guys cutting. He can find guys that are shooting. He can get out in transition and help people score or score himself. I think he's going to be big for them. You can say the same thing about Vince Williams Jr. Can he give you 5 or can he give you 10 when he's asked upon? Will Jaren Jackson rebound? Will he be able to score, with those hook shots and those push shots and scoring in the paint? Will he make his threes like he showed that he can do at a high level? We forget that Jaren Jackson is only 25. We forget that Desmond Bain is only 26. And Santiago Aldama is only 24. I think we get a little too caught up in, what they're doing wrong instead of how they still can grow as a team and still get experience and still continue to try to show that they're one of the best teams in the Western Conference, which they have the ability to do in this playing game. But Ja Morant, to me, is going to be their biggest player. Like, will he be that guy that be fearless and take the tough shots and carry this team? And we've seen Bane be able to do it throughout this season too. So at least we know he has a running mate that he believes in. And you can make an argument that Jaren Jackson is the best player on the team easily, is what people are saying. But it's mainly because of his position and the fact that he can defend and clog up that paint while still being able to space the floor and score himself. I think that's been his best strength now, is that you can give him the basketball and he can get his own shot and it can be an efficient one. And that's something that he really couldn't do in the past when he got into the league. But I look at the X factors for the Golden State Warriors being Trace Jackson Davis. Will he get on the court? He was a big part of what they were doing earlier in the season, and now he's not really doing anything. Jonathan Kuminga, can he stay healthy, or will he be healthy enough to contribute? He can get to the basket. He can knock down perimeter shots from time to time. He can get out in transition and get easy baskets. He can get deflections. He can get strips. They can give them easy opportunities to score. Moses Moody has been a good player for them. He's been able to hit the mid-ranges and hit the layups and also hit the threes. Gary Payton is a 3-and-D guy, but he also can get to the basket because if he close out too hard, he can finish strong in the paint. And he also is a good cutter, and he can also be a solid transition player. Brandon Podziemski is probably the biggest player for them. If he's having a great game from the perimeter, it just opens up so much from the other players, and it just makes their jobs easier because he can also pass. But this man can get hot from three. He can hit his shots at the top of the key. He can hit shots in the corner. He can put the ball on the floor and get a little drive going. Santos, we don't really know what they're going to get out of him or Pat Spencer, but I don't think they're going to be a big part of what they're doing in this run. They're going to be needed if somebody gets injured. But other than that, I don't really see them playing too much. You can say the same thing about Kevin Knox. Um, but Quentin Post is going to be the biggest, guy when it comes to the big man because of his ability to force people to play his game. And if he's knocking down his threes and he's knocking down his mid range from time to time, he's going to be a big part of what they're doing offensively. But it's all relies and goes on how far Steph can go. Is he going to go for 30? Is he going to go for 40? Is he going to be a playmaker? Is they going to force the ball out of his hands too much? Is Draymond going to be the beneficiary of that? Is Jimmy Butler going to be the beneficiary of that? Because we know these guys, when they get the ball, they can make plays. They can knock down shots. And that's something that they're going to have to do against this Memphis defense that can be tough, to score on sometimes. So the athleticism is there in the favor of Memphis. The strength is there too. But the Warriors, they just have this dynamic ability of putting you in tough situation and making you choose what you want to do and what you don't want to do, what you want to give up and what you don't want to give up. And it becomes a mind game sometimes. Do you have the mental toughness to be able to grind and guard and run and jog and always be where you need to be on the court? Because the Golden State Warriors offense just keeps flowing and flowing and flowing, and it tests your mental stability. Can you pay attention to the guy you're guarding? Can you not fall asleep on a cutter? Can you not, fight? Is you going to fight through those screens? Is you going to give your maximum effort? And them young teams, they just forget that. Like, you got to be competing all 4 quarters, every second of that, quarter, and you have to value each possession because it's just that hard to win against the better teams because their execution is damn near flawless. I'm just going to be honest about it. And the Warriors are one of those teams that's like that. So, you know, the Grizzlies are in for a tough one, and Golden State knows that this is a team that wants to beat us. This is a team that always trash talks us. They waiting for their time. They respect each other, but they know that we got next. That's what the Grizzlies think. That's how they talk. We got next. We tired of y'all winning. We just as good as y'all. We can beat y'all. We done showed that we got next, and it just never happened. And the Warriors just won a championship not that long ago, and they said the same thing. Klay Thompson was going in on Jaren Jackson in the press conference, and these bums talking about they got next and they're this, they're that. Well, they're going to try to do it again this year, and if they beat the Warriors, they just going to be feeling themselves. But we're going to see how far the Grizzlies can actually go in this run. Is they a legitimate contender or are they pretenders? I would say pretenders. They have the talent. They have a lot of things going their way, but they never really has been able to figure it all out when it's needed. And then they fired their head coach. That's gonna be something that Steve Kerr gonna be happy. They're gonna be figuring stuff out. They're gonna be changing things. They're gonna be trying to do different things. Will it work? Or will that be, making their situation worse? Will the Warriors have the ability to capitalize off that? If y'all don't know what y'all doing, or y'all still trying to figure out what y'all trying to do on both ends of the court, and we already know what we're doing on both ends of the court because of preparation, then that just helps us win this series or this game even easier. Like, in playing tournament, you only got to win the game once. If you're already a 7th or the 8th seed, then you lock up your spot. So the Grizzlies are in trouble because they actually want to be 7th because they match up good against the Rockets. And if I'm the Warriors, I don't really want to play OKC, even though they probably feel that they can compete against them. That's a tougher matchup. I think with guys like Quentin Post and Looney, that can give trouble to Shingun. That can, Jimmy Butler can guard a Jabari Smith or a Jalen Green or, Fred VanVleet, and that don't hurt Steph too much. So I think that they rather just be 7th. So they're going to have to come out and play at a high level to get that spot, and they got to be ready. But the Warriors, they do get this day off. I know that they rather had been the top 6 seed, but it just didn't happen for them. They ended up losing to the Clippers. Now they in a torture chamber, and the Grizzlies are going to come at them, and they're going to try to beat them down. But I would say I won't go with the Warriors though. I just feel like they just make a little bit more sense. They just understand their roles a little bit better. They understand how to play the game the right way. They don't bicker. They don't complain. They just accept the competition and play hard against the competition. And they know how to beat, basically anybody. And the Grizzlies, like I said, if their jump shots are not falling, they are a little clustered as a team. And I just feel like if Jaren Jackson is not going to rebound and he's not going to lock down that paint, the Warriors can still get hot from the perimeter. And can the Grizzlies do that enough to be able to beat a team like the Warriors, who can be, a little tough to score on, especially with Jimmy Butler after that trade? They have been a greater defensive team. Other than that, I ain't really got much to say, but it should be a fun series versus these two. Even in the future, Steph said he ain't going nowhere. He don't believe the Warriors going nowhere. They gave Jimmy Butler a 2-year contract, and they feel like they still have a chance to try to get another one. We got 4. Let's just go for 5. You know what I mean? It's show that we have had one of the greatest runs, in NBA history, and we have become a dynasty because of our intellect and our play and our work ethic. And that's how you got to do it to be great, and that's how you got to do it to be respected. That's how you got to do it if you want to be a team that's remembered, as one of the dominant franchises in NBA history. And the Warriors passed the Bulls. I think they got 7 NBA championships now. And, they're one of the greatest franchises ever, just because drafting Clay, Steph, and Draymond and picking some great players along the way and trading for some great players and recruiting great players to come try to win with them. And if they can get it done with Wiggins, they can get it done with Barnes, they can get it done with Iguodala, they can get it done with KD, maybe they can get it done with Jimmy Butler. We don't know. But Jimmy Butler going to have to step it up and not be as passive as he's been before. They need him to be Jimmy Buckets, like he was in Chicago, like he was in Minnesota, like he was in Philly, and like he was playoff Jimmy in Miami. If he's going to do that with Steph, that's a tough team to beat, because you always have Draymond getting steals, getting blocks, rebounding, and setting guys up and hitting perimeter shots while also being able to drive if you don't pay attention. They can beat you with their mind. They just break you if you're not paying attention, if you're not really out there playing hard as you can. And that's one thing I would say is their advantage. Just their mental toughness is what they're going to force you to have, and just their ability to just bend you a little bit, on both ends of the court. And Grizzlies, they got to be ready. They got to be ready to get their best. Comment, like, subscribe, share, hit the notification bell for more analysis. And if you're new to the channel, I do conversation videos just like this in various different NBA-only topics. Also do breakdowns with real footage of legends, current legends, rookies, and also future stars. Also do mock draft and draft coverage. So if you like that type of stuff, this is the channel for you. I promise you, because I got over 3,000 videos already on my channel that you can watch and possibly become a fan or a subscriber. Is up to you. Social media is on my channel if y'all want to follow me on there, see some other things I do with NBA only content. Also, my email is on my channel. If you want to not leave a comment or a social media message, you can do it on my email. Other than that, thank y'all for watching. Hope y'all having a blessed day. Hope you all continue to enjoy your day. Stay positive, keep grinding, keep your head up, and keep locking in and focusing on your goals to give you something to look forward to, and that should keep you happy enough. Other than that, hope you guys enjoyed y'all weekend. Hope you all stay blessed, and hope y'all continue to stay blessed. Thank y'all for appreciating the content for what it is and continuing to come back, continuing to support me any way that you have throughout the past and also still to this day. All support is good support for the most part, so I appreciate it. Other than that, I'm going for now, and I'll be back later with more analysis, as there's no basketball games on today. The schedule going to get a little shorter, so just remember more run. I gave y'all a rundown. Now I'm going to give y'all breakdowns. Now I'm going to give y'all playoff predictions, summer league content. We got some other stuff coming up. So just keep in mind, I'm still going to mix it up, still going to change some things up, still going to give y'all some content that's different, just to keep y'all having something to watch and enjoying. Just look at this channel as another form of entertainment. And that's all I can give y'all at the end of the day. Y'all love it. That's a 50-50 why the channel is still around, still to this day, because fans like y'all just continue to eat up everything I put out and continue to recommend it and support it. And that's all I can ask y'all for. I'm gone for now. Peace out. Y'all stay blessed up.